Well, this week, KOTV is celebrating 70 years on the air right here in Green Country.
And as we promised, we're sitting down with the man behind the story that we just saw. Emory is here with us this afternoon to talk about the archives. Gosh, a lot of stuff down there.
Oh yeah, it's I love going into some archive like that where they've got all those old things and they've got so many treasures that are connected to KOTV. We didn't really know when we made that inquiry, hey, anything new there? Well, even since the 50th anniversary of KOTV, when we did the last search of the archives of the Historical Society, they have a huge stack of new things that they've gotten just in the last few years that relate to KOTV and our history that, as they said in the piece, is now kind of Tulsa's history because the stations have been around so long, and when we're recording history and saving it too.
Was there a story or maybe a certain piece of history that really stood out to you during this?
Well, it's interesting because when we work here, we think, well, we're not making history, but those folks back then were smart enough to realize that some of the artifacts that were being handed to them are just common things at the station. A good photograph of something going on in the studio. At the time, it might seem trivial, but you look back on it, and it's so valuable. And there were a couple of key people who worked here, Lee Woodward, Betty Boyd, those folks, just in the last few years, what they had, their personal recollections and photographs of KOTV have been given to the Historical Society, and they love it because there's nowhere else to get that kind of stuff. It all belongs to people once it leaves this building, and somebody saved it and had the thoughtfulness to pass that on so everybody can enjoy it.
You've been here a long, long time, 22 years.
Yes.
Is there anything in the archives that you were going through and thought, oh, I kind of forgot about that, but now I quickly remember?
Well, even when I started here, people were still talking about some of the old characters, Cy Tuma, Lee Woodward, and all of these people. And we were in that old building. These are pictures taken in that building where I worked, this gigantic studio that was remarkable at the time. By the time I got there, we were all cramped in it, and we all thought, we need some elbow room. We've got to expand this place. But it was remarkable at the time, and it, occasionally you could go find some corner of the building and see, well, wait a minute, this is 1949. This is nothing. Nobody's been back here since then. Occasionally see something like that, but it's remarkable even for me to have been around that long. But then to see the things that people hung on to, the things that KOTV did. At a time when television's not easy. I mean, we don't think it's easy now. It's remarkably more easy than it
I mean, we use our cell phones now. Look at those gigantic cameras that were just in that video, and now we use our cell phones.
Right, big trucks to transmit everything. At one point we had an airplane. We're still trying to get back to that.
I heard you're flying it.
No. But there's so many things like that. And the Historical Society really wants people to know that if you've got some Tulsa-centric treasure like this, this all came from people who worked here. Hang on to that, save it, and at least give the Historical Society a chance to take a look at it. It might be something that's much more valuable than just something to your family. So many things get dispersed at estate sales, or worse, thrown away when someone dies. But you don't have to wait till someone dies. Let the Historical Society look at it. They can make copies of things now, and it's so easy for them. And some of this is just really Tulsa history that needs to be saved. They're really looking for things, Art Deco treasures, yearbooks, especially from the suburbs, because those things put everything in context. A yearbook has hundreds of photographs and all the names, everything. That's just what they need.
Well, Emory, thank you so much for being here today. This has been fun looking back.
Happy to be here.
All right.